I'm going to be talking about Kevin Samuels. I first saw the news on, I think, Sparky's page. And the comments were just not fun. You know, I found it disturbing that people thought that it was okay to publicly rejoice that someone died. Now, I don't know of Kevin Samuels to be a murderer or a serial killer or a rapist or any kind of criminal. I don't know him to be that. So I don't know why people would be rejoicing that this person, who as far as we knew didn't harm anyone, is dead. Now, he gave relationship advice. I don't think I was following him on YouTube. I don't think so. I have seen some of his videos on Instagram, I believe. I think I saw it on Instagram, and I listened to the ones that I saw. I listened to them, and you know, these women would come on, and I guess they would ask him for advice, obviously relationship advice, or you know, whether they want to get a husband, or they were in a relationship and the relationship wasn't working, or whatever the case might be. They would come on and they would ask his advice on what to do, because I think that he set himself up as someone who, you know, it's like, well, if you basically, mostly to women, like, if you want a man, I can tell you how to get one realistically. So, and I guess much of what he had to say, a lot of people did not appreciate it. So I am going to speak on it, because I think that it is very important that, just in the same way, when you see evil is being perpetrated against a person or group, you have to call it out. When you see an hypocrisy that is detrimental to your community or your people, you have to call it out. Before I get into the kind of hypocrisy that I'm talking about, I just want to read the New York Times article on Mr. Samuels' death. So, Kevin Samuels, a polarizing YouTube personality, dies at 57. Styling himself as an image consultant, Mr. Samuels aimed his advice at black men and women, drawing a large following and a chorus of detractors who condemned his views as outdated and cruel. His death was announced by two friends and fellow YouTube personalities, Dennis Sperling and Melanie King. Mr. Sperling, who is also a lawyer, identified himself as a family spokesman in an Instagram post. The Atlanta police said he was found unresponsive on the floor of his apartment. No cause was cited. Describing himself as an image consultant, Mr. Samuels had transformed in recent years from a personal stylist into a social media celebrity who built his following on an image of plain-spoken, hypermasculine authority, usually wearing a finely tailored suit. The approach brought him more than 1 million followers on both YouTube and Instagram, and many of his supporters viewed him as taking courageous stands for what they called traditional values. In his videos and posts, Mr. Samuels urged his followers to adhere to rigid gender roles. He largely evaluated women for their appearance and youth, men for their assertiveness and money. He criticized women whom he saw as too career-focused and asked questions suggesting women's interest in men was based on mostly their income. How much do you charge for submission? The messages were repugnant to many, especially women, who said his views were misogynistic and promoted a brand of masculinity that harmed the men who listened to him. More than 30,000 people signed an online petition asking YouTube and Instagram to remove Mr. Samuels, saying he had galvanized the community of men of all races and nationalities in the outspoken hatred of women. On Thursday, when word of his death first surfaced, Mr. Samuels became one of the leading topics on Twitter, with many of the most amplified voices speaking out against him. Kevin Samuels has basically made a profit and has made his profile consistently perpetuating harmful stereotypes about black men and women, Ernest Owens, a journalist, said on Friday, adding that a lot of his rhetoric and commentary was rooted in misogyny. Comments on Mr. Samuels' YouTube and Instagram videos revealed a community mostly but not entirely composed of men who looked up to him. One commenter responded to a recent video by calling Mr. Samuels an inspiration to black men around the world, and thousands of others indicated support for the comment. Kevin Samuels was born on March 13, 1965, according to Mr. Sperling, who said he was survived by his mother and a daughter. Mr. Samuels had an early interest in fashion, telling the Oklahoma Gazette in 2016 that as a child he laid out my pajamas and made sure they were pressed. He credited his mother with piquing that interest. He attended the University of Oklahoma, where he studied. Okay, so they are going into his past. Alright, so I will just stop reading the article from there. Now, what I find interesting is that this man died, and when you read most of the news articles, they did not focus on the death. They focused on the controversy surrounding Mr. Samuels' life. Now, to me, if someone died, I'm going to report the circumstances of the person's death, and then you can give some background as to who is this person and why should we be interested that they're dead anyway. You know what I'm saying? But the headlines has always been the negative stuff. It's like all this man did was hurt everybody. And it's kind of like, if he was so horrible, why did he have 1.8 million followers? Like, that makes no sense. If all he was doing was hurting people, how come he end up with 1.8 million followers? That doesn't make any sense. So why are the headlines just pointing to the negative aspect of what other people were saying? Because people do not understand. You know, your opinion of me is just that. Your opinion is not a factual representation of who I am. So if you didn't like Kevin Samuels because you thought he was this or you thought it was that is your opinion. It is not a statement of fact. And you can have a chorus of idiots saying something about someone because they don't like the person, and there is not one jot of truth in it. So I find it very interesting that the reporting on Mr. Samuels' death has focused on the negative aspect of it. Now I'm going to preface my commentary by saying I am a man, and perhaps, you know, my view on the issue is prejudiced by virtue of the fact that I am a man. I will have to concede that, because there is no true way of discerning if I am being biased or I am trying to be as objective as possible. However, I will let you know that in every utterances, when I make these public things, I'm doing a live now, I always strive to be as objective as I can. But I'm a human being, I am fallible, so I'm not going to discount the fact that unconscious biases may not seep into my commentary. But for the most part, I am not actively trying to be disingenuous or partisan or whatever. I've never ever, under any circumstances that I can remember, attempt to be biased towards anything. If I am biased, I will say it right out up front. Listen, I am biased towards this or X, Y. I will do that so that you will take whatever I have to say with a grain of salt. Having said that, we are living in a society that praises negativity and fakeness. That's the society that we live in. If someone is engaged in a kind of activity that is dangerous to them, there is no way anybody should enable them. If you're taking drugs, I'm not going to enable you. Oh, it's your life, do whatever you want. No. I have a duty of care. Everyone owes a duty of care to his or her neighbor. That is how human beings function in a civilized society. It is just that simple. So we are, in essence, our brothers and our sisters' keeper, such that if we see where he or she is heading down a destructive path, then we have a duty to say something. We have a duty to do something. I will use the simplest example. If somebody goes on top of a building and decide, listen, I'm going to jump off and end this shit. As a human being, you have a responsibility to try your best to discourage that person from taking that jump. It is just that simple. It is no different from speaking to somebody who's obese to say, hey, you need to do something about that weight. It is no different from saying to a woman, listen, if you need a man, you gotta change that fucking attitude. So I listened to Kevin Samuels, and unfortunately, you know, here's the thing. People like to feel good about doing bad. That is the society where someone will be doing something that they know is detrimental to them, they know is wrong, they know is counterproductive to the destination that they want to go, but they want you to make them feel better about doing the fuck shit that they're doing. Kevin Samuels' advice to women has always been real. And the thing is, people don't like real, they like fake. Now, he's a man, he understands how men think. He's looking at the landscape, right? Okay, these are the kinds of men that we have in the society. Now, if a woman goes to him asking for advice, and he understands how a man thinks, and she's coming with her expectations or her this and her that, and he's looking at, okay, these are the men over here, these are your expectations, they're not matching up. So with your expectations, you're not going to get none of the man over here, so. And you want a man, and it is my job to help you get one. So I'm going to say, listen there, this is what it is. This is the reality of the situation. Your expectations are not matching with the reality. So you have to adjust your expectation to the fucking reality if you want a man. If you're content with being by yourself, then you don't need to be talking to me because you don't need any advice. Have a nice life. And that's basically what he was doing. And people were upset saying he was misogynistic, he hated women, he this, he that. How can somebody hate you if they're telling you the truth? I don't understand that. How is someone letting you know that, listen, this is the reality on the ground? You are in a little fantasy land, and I need to pop that bubble. So he was walking around with pins and needles and popping people's bubbles, and that is why most people were upset, because they did not like what he had to say, albeit it was the truth. Because I have not listened extensively to him. I think I saw probably 4 hours, because these things are long. They're like 1.5 hour long, 2 hours, like they're fucking long. So I have listened to a few of them, and aside from the fact that he was just blunt, and we live in a society where people just do not like to be confronted with the truth. So it seems harsh because you're used to being cuddled and being enabled. So you know you're doing what you're doing is some foolishness, but you know we take time with you, we are cuddle you, we are deal with yourself. He just came out and just say shit. Now, I hear one person say, oh, you can help someone without putting them down. No, listen. I don't understand how telling someone the truth or forcing someone to face reality is putting them down. If I say something that is not factual, that is not truthful, that is not grounded in any kind of evidence, then obviously I can be putting you down. But if, let me see if I can find an example. If, let's say, a woman weighs 275 pounds, right? And she wants to go horseback riding, and the maximum weight that the horse can carry is 200 pounds. I'm gonna tell her, okay, well, you can go horseback riding because the horse will not be able to carry you. How is that putting you down? The horse can fucking carry you. You weigh 275 pounds and go 200 pounds, the horse can carry. It's just that simple. So how am I putting you down? I don't get it. Maybe like because I don't, listen, I cannot understand how people think in today's society, because people, it's like everybody's brain is fucked up, or maybe my brain fucked up, you don't know. You're telling people the truth and you're saying you're putting them down. How is the truth putting you down? If you have decided that you want to live in an alternate reality, that is a choice that you're making, but it doesn't mean that I need to come and live in there with you too. I am not going to be a party to your delusion. Much of what he was saying, you have these women come and saying, oh, I am a queen, I am this, I am that, and then they have all these accoutrements that they put onto themselves. So she's overweight, has 2 children, single, 46 years old, and she wants this rich, nice looking gentleman to come take her up a mine and her 2 pitney them with her fat 46-year-old self. Just as an example. And what he would do is like, okay, you want a man that makes 6 figures, 6 feet tall, probably 30 years old, handsome. Are you the kind of woman that that kind of man wants? Because you have to now confront that question. Will a man, 30 years old, millionaire, you know, in good shape, good looking, want a 46-year-old fat mother of 2? No, it is, I'm not saying that it is easy to hear if you're that person. It's never easy to confront your demons. Nobody is saying that it's easy. But if you are not in the process to learn and to evolve, then why are you doing it anyway? These women went to him for advice, and he was letting them know, okay, you need to look at you first, because first, what are you bringing to the table? Right? What are you bringing to the table? Look at yourself, do an assessment. Now, the woman is going to exaggerate her value. Everybody does that. She's going to exaggerate her value. And he's going to listen to what she has to say. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, da 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 da. And then he will strip it away and say, first of all, the men don't care about this. Men don't care about this. Men don't. So these things that you pack and panny, and I say, it's kind of like when you go market, right? And you know, you go to buy produce, and they might try if let's say you want a bag of orange, and you see them a put in, and you say, I no put that one in them, you know, want that. While you could squeeze up, you understand, them a try if pad the bag with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you're like, listen, it's my money, and me no want to squeeze up orange. Fuck you, put that in the take out that one, they put that, this, me no want another in one day. You understand, and now you begin to dictate to the person selling you the oranges that, listen, I don't want, these are the ones that I want, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. Because you realize, you say them a pad or sort of fuckery in the bag. Like, it's my money, you understand, I can always go someplace else to buy oranges. I don't need to buy oranges from you. So you go and put the one with me want in the fucking bag. And that's basically what Kevin Samuels was doing with these women. And a lot of them, instead of trying to take the advice, because you're talking to a man, not a woman, from a man who has, you know, reasonable knowledge of what most men are expecting, because obviously he spoke to men too, and he got, you know, so from a man's he had the man's perspective, plus he spoke to men, and obviously he's hanging out with his crew, and we all, I mean, as men, we all know like what is important to us and what is not. So because the women didn't like what they were seeing on the other side of the mirror, as far as, okay, what do men value? What do men place value on? And do you have these things? Because what are you placing value on? And what do men place value on? If what the woman places value on is not in congruence with what men place value on, then obviously there's going to be a friction there. And while the woman is saying, I am valuable because I have these things, but I can't get a man, the man is like, I don't see anything of value that you bring to the table, so you can't get me. And that is what he was trying to do, to say, these are the things that the men value, and you only have one of that. So you may have to now adjust your expectation to someone who is in this bracket, because you want upper number 10, but based on what you have to offer is probably somebody who don't want number 5 are going to want you. If you want somebody upper number 10, you have to go now increase your value to meet the person who is up here, because they won't see you at all, because you're all the way down here. And maybe at the point where you are, you will never be able to get, absent a miracle, you will never be able to get somebody who is up there, because it is almost impossible. And these are the kinds of things that he would say, not verbatim obviously, and this is what caused the kind of hatred that we see. And I find it peculiar that we are rejoicing that someone died. Now, if this was a mass murderer, I could understand, you know, you're glad him dead because he won't kill nobody else, but I don't know if him commit any crime. And you had all these women. It's so interesting that you would go to someone for advice with an issue that you're having, and then you turn around, hate the person because you did not like the advice. How does that make sense? These women who went to him had difficulty either getting into a relationship or maintaining one, right? That is why they sought his advice. And obviously the best person to consult, so if a man has difficulty attracting or keeping a woman, the best person to talk to would be a woman, because a man would know what a woman is thinking. The best person to talk to would be a woman, to say, okay, this is what I'm doing, tell me what I'm doing wrong. No, sir? That's what you would have to do. You want a woman, you can't go to a man if you go tell you, oh, if you get a woman, that don't make no fucking sense. You have to talk to a woman and say, okay, this is what I'm doing, but every time it just doesn't work out. Can you tell me what I'm doing wrong? What do I need to improve on X, Y, Z? And you will have to just take the fucking advice, try it and see if it works. You can't hate the person because of what they say. Maybe they say, well, listen, you're too short. Women tend to like men who are about, 5'10" and above. That is one of the issues that you're having, because you're 5'5". Just saying, right? So, in order to make yourself appear more attractive, this is what you will have to do. You're fucking short. That is a statement of fact. And the woman is telling you that, woman don't really generally like short man, so that's why you have problem. I really have not kind of go for you, and the sharpness is what them see. The sharpness is standing out. So you need to know, make something else stand out to make you more attractive. Why are you gonna be fucking mad? Like, why are you gonna be mad? Because you're having an issue and you're talking to someone of the opposite sex to say, hey, give me some pointers, give me some ideas, what you think we can do to improve my chances of getting a woman's attention, or whatever the case may be. And you go fucking vex when them tell you, say, hey brother, you're short, so guess what? You have to go work extra hard to get a woman attention, because them not go see you. You're not going to catch them eye, and no time a day not go happen. And that is what Kevin Samuels was basically saying. Listen, most men now go want to come to a woman with pity, and that is a fact. That is a goddamn motherfucking fact. Plain and simple. And you're vexed because, oh, you love your child. It has nothing to do with you loving your child. It's a man you want. And the man I tell you, say, if you want a millionaire who is 30 years old and look good, him not go want you because you have a fucking pick. And that's just the long and short of the story. Why you vexed? That's the truth. And here you have this man died, and because they did not like the advice that he was giving, even though if you, because what I find is that people tend to put their feelings into, when you're talking about a subject matter that is especially controversial, you have to be able to try to be as objective as you can. So, especially if it is something that is a touchy subject for you, it's one of two things. Either you go and take yourself out of the conversation, because if you cannot be objective, there's no point in having a conversation. Let us just be real. If I have an issue that is very, is a sore point for me, and it just trigger me all the time, and me always in my feelings when that topic they launch, if there is a discussion where you're trying to evolve the conversation to get a better outcome, I have to excuse myself, because I am going to do more harm than good, because I'm going to be in my fucking feelings and not be able to look at the bigger picture, not be able to properly ventilate the issues when they arise because of my own emotions that I am attaching to everything that is happening. I am taking it personally, and I'm looking at it through a personal lens, when it's not about me. It is not about me. When you're trying to be in a relationship, people don't understand. It's not about you. It's about the person that you're trying to attract. And you have to understand what it is. It's kind of like if you have to think about a relationship as a job. Let's say if you're going to apply for a job, remember the job has specifications. These are the things that you need to have. These are the soft skills. These are the hard skills. This is how much years of experience. Then it comes with a whole bag of things where you're supposed to have. Now, in order to even get an interview, your resume must match what the job requires. It's the same thing with a relationship. If you are not what the other person is looking for, then I'm going to give you the time of fucking day. Full stop. That is not rocket science. Figure out. So if you have determined as a woman that, okay, I want a man that makes 6 figures, you have to understand that a man that makes 6 figures has a lot of fucking options. Like, a lot. So the competition thief, like when you start scholar. What does a man like that want in a woman? And do you have it? These are the 2 simple questions that you have to ask yourself. And these are the kinds of questions that Kevin Samuels would flesh out of women and let them know when they're like, oh, I'm a 10, and it's like, girl, like, your BMI is over 25. You're not a fucking 10. Like, let's just be real. You're not. You have 2 kids. That alone shave off 4 pints off of you. What are you talking about? The age matters, your physical appearance matters, and whether you have kids or not matters. Those things largely influence whether you're going to be able to get the kind of man that you claim that you... Because it wasn't about whether they could get a man or not. It was the kind of men that these women wanted. Because they would come, this is what I want, and he would be like, okay, you tell me what you want, this is what this a man where I look for, this is what him want. And when me look on you, you're not it. And they vex. And that is the misogyny that they're talking. Because like I said, I listened to some of his stuff. And that is what he would do. The women would come and say, oh, I've been trying to get a man, I'm 40 years old, I've been working, I have this, I'm well educated, da 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 da. And, okay, so what kind of man do you want? Oh, I want a guy who this, that, da 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 da. And it's like, okay, a guy like that I go want a woman with XYZ blah blah blah. What you have? Okay, this is what you have, this is what a guy like that wants. The scale no balance. And you vex. And beat against the man. When all he was talking about, all he was doing was pointing out the reality. And he's saying there are one of two things that you can do. Either you're going to have to now elevate yourself if you can. Because in most cases, like when it comes to the age and stuff, there are some things that you wouldn't be able to do anything about. Because if you're 50, I mean, you can't do nothing about that. You're 50 already. Most men now go want you. Like, let's just be real. It's not going to fucking happen. So there are some things that you, so it means that now if there are a lot of things that you can't change because of, you know, it's just natural stuff, then you may have to now adjust your expectation to say, okay, well, even though this is what I want, it happens in life all the time. Maybe you want a Lamborghini, but when you're looking at your bank account, you can only afford a Pro Box. What are you gonna do? Buy where you can't afford. A lot of us want a lot of things in life. We want the house, the car, and the land, and the big job. But we have to look at ourselves. What skills do I have? What are my qualifications? What are my experience? I can't want to go around Grace Kennedy when me not have no experience in that. It could be my aspiration, but it simply means then that me have to go to college and go get a degree or a PhD or a master's or whatever in a whatever a CEO is required to do in order to run Grace Kennedy. Plus, me have to now go get the experience. Me have to go start with them from way down there so and try to work my way up. But it's gonna take a lot of work on my part to achieve that goal. There is no goal that comes without sacrifice. You can't want just things dropping on your fucking lap like that and also life work. Life is a struggle for a reason. Like, we're all struggling. We're all striving towards something. If I even get up in the morning and not kill myself. Let's just be real, because that is an accomplishment for a lot of people. Okay, or another day when we not decide to chuck off of the bridge. Life is a constant struggle, and the moment we overcome one hurdle, because that is how we maintain a kind of relevance and make our life seems like it has meaning. Because if there's nothing to strive towards, think about it. If you get up every single day and there is literally nothing on the face of this planet that you are striving towards, imagine how dull and boring your fucking life would be. But we hate struggle. Without struggle, life has no meaning. The whole point of struggle is to give meaning to our lives. Because if you wake up every God Almighty day and there's just nothing to strive towards, guess what? This is going to be a very dull and boring existence. We need to cut out the hypocrisy, this woke mentality, and this political correctness bullshit that we have woven into the fabric of society. We need to root it up, because it has created a society of pussies. Because as you say, some people feelings hurt, whether it is true or not. And now everything is, you have to walk on HL. And this is like, I don't know, I was talking to someone the other day, and I don't know, I said something, and I'm like, listen, I am not going to apologize for giving my honest opinion. So if you are going to be upset every time I speak, end the blood clot conversation and the friend we don't like done with me, because I am not going to lukewarm myself to fucking please you. It simply means that you should not be in my circle, because we energy now fucking align. If every time me talk you upset, you offended, fuck you and come out of my life. It's just that fucking simple. And that's what we need to start doing. I'm not saying you're gonna go around and be mean to people. That is a different thing. But if you are, if I am being genuine, if I'm giving an honest, and in my view, obviously, because it's from your point of view, if I am being totally honest, if I am being myself, my authentic self, and you are offended, fuck you, bye. Because I can't be anybody else. If I'm going to be somebody else, I have too much energy that It is not healthy for me. So, it's this spot come out of my circle. So all of the people in them feelings about Kevin Samuels, there is one fucking man in a 7.8 billion people on the planet. Why the fuck you upset with this man? Block and delete him and move on. Why you are upset about what he's doing? If the advice doesn't go for you, keep it pushing. There are millions of other billions of people on the planet. If one person is saying something that does not sit well with your spirit, why are you buying into it? Why are you letting it affect you? Kevin Samuels can't hurt nobody's feelings, and you allow yourself to be hurt. Because it's like scrolling through Instagram. When you attract your attention, you're going to stop and look for, not true. And if you stop and just go scroll past, it's just the same way. If someone is rubbing you the wrong way, or you know agree with what they must say, or XYZ, keep it the fuck pushing. Like, why are you going to be in the person's space, dictating to them how they should think, how they should feel, what they should say? Who gives you that kind of authority? I don't understand people. There are almost 8 billion people on the planet. If you do not agree with what someone is saying or doing, come out of them space. Leave them alone. There is no social media platform that does not have a black button. All of them have black button, block and delete. Don't go in someone's space and tell them how to think and how to behave. You can't do that. Keep it pushing, because guess what? Who agree with him when they follow him and listen to him affair? So if you don't agree, keep it fucking pushing. Because what he might do is not a case. It's not like when the government come out and say everybody feel locked down at the yard. No, that is affecting everyone. You understand? So obviously, if it is affecting, if I don't have a choice, if I'm being forced to participate in something, then obviously I'm gonna have to be like, okay, well, this is affecting me now. So if your life is not impacted by what the person is doing, then it should not concern you. Because there are a lot of us here. Everybody can't agree with everybody. I don't expect everyone to agree with my opinion. Me know Jesus Christ and not even everybody never agree with because they kill it. It's like, unless it is affecting you directly, where you have no choice, you know, you're being forced to participate in this thing that you don't want to participate in, then you should just keep it moving. You can't be friends with everybody. You can't agree with everybody. Everybody's not going to be your friend. Everybody's not going to like you. You can't like what everybody else is saying. That's just not the world we live in. So when you find someone that you disagree with, move along. So all this hatred for Kevin Samuels, and the hatred is coming from a point of ignorance, because people do not like to be confronted with the truth. And I have that issue in my own encounters with people, because I just tell it like it is too. And a lot of people have called me rude and obnoxious and this, and they call me everything in the book. And there were 2 incidences of note. One girl said to me, you know, you're rude at work. And I got so mad because I keep hearing people saying, oh, you're rude, you're feisty, you're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah. And me know when, you know, like, if me face with you, you're not going to talk to me again. Like, if me face with you, you hate me for the rest of your life. Tell me, I tell you that. You hate blood clot me. You're not going to talk to me. So me know, me not rude to nobody. Because if me rude to people at work, I would have lost the job. Because when people call rude, I'm rude. When me rude, me rude. So I said to her, you know, I keep hearing people say that. You're not the first person who have said that about me or to me. Can you tell me at one point in all the time that you have known me where I was ever rude to you? And she laughed. And she said, you never rude to me still in a butt. Me say, no, but you're saying that, and I keep hearing people saying it, and I don't know, I can't recall a time when I was rude to anybody here. So like, you just start things plain. So it wasn't that I was being rude. It's just that they did not like to be confronted with the truth, and their only way of reconciling it is to say I am being rude. So they're not accepting because they cannot accept the truth. So they pass it off as, oh, the person is being rude. And so when confronted with, to say, okay, can you point out what I said or did that you found to be offensive? They can't. And manager took me to HR at work, and she made the same comment in HR to say, you know, you've always been rude. Because there was some incident that happened. Well, it wasn't an incident. She did something, and I was very upset. And, you know, I took her to task about it. I said, you're out of order. You don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And she felt that, how dare you, you know, tell me as a manager that I can't do this and can't do that, really. So she took me to HR. And in the meeting, you know, cause she wanted me now to talk. I said, I don't know why I'm here. Like, you call me to me, I come tell me if you talk. I don't know why you could carry me as a. I said, you tell me why you carry me here. Me not have nothing to say. And you have things to say, girl. Me not understand you. Anyway, she chat and Fita said, me is a fucking idiot. And then she said, oh, well, you know, I didn't want to call you because I know you're always been rude, and I didn't want to call you without having a witness. So she never want to call me on the phone, because what happened was she left message saying me have to work on my night off. And I was like, bitch, you can fucking do that. Why didn't you call me to let me know that, hey, can you come in tonight, XYZ, because you don't know what kind of plans me have. You know, that's out of order, and you were going to be out of office the next day. So it's not like I could have responded to say, I'm sorry, I can't make it or whatever. You would have been out of office, so there would have been no way for me to get to you using the medium that you communicated the information to me. So you're out of order. You know what I mean? So she was like, oh, I didn't want to call you because you've always been rude. So I'm like, okay, but you're in an official forum now, miss. This is an official forum. HR is sitting right there, and you're making an allegation that I've been rude. At what point? At this point, I think I knew her for like 5 or 6 years or something like that. So I'm like, in all the 5 years that I've known you, at what point was I ever rude to you? Crickets, nothing. I said, okay, maybe I was never rude to you, but at what point in all the time that I have been working here and that you have known me, have you ever observed me being rude to another person? She can't talk. Crickets. I said, but here you are sitting in front of HR, bringing an allegation against me for which you have no evidence. I said, I've never been rude to you, and you have never observed me being rude to anyone. So where did you get that from? You can't just come in here and say things and, you know, have no plausible reason for doing so. And so, but the thing is, what they call rude is when you confront them with the truth. So she left a message that I have to work on my night off because, hey, she's the manager. I'm like, no, bitch, you can't fucking do that. It's my night off. You ask me if I can work, and I will let you know. You cannot dictate to me that I have to work. That's not how it works. So because she's now confronted with the truth, because, you know, by right, I'm not being paid for my day off. You can't dictate to me that I have to come in. You ask me for help out a situation, and even if it was a case where, you know, there's no choice, you can't come with a bully mentality to say me have to fucking work. Fuck you. Because if me decide to me now work, you can't fire me neither. Because it's my day off. I am under no obligation to work. And I've worked 6 days anyway, so it's not like, you know, it was 6 days that I've worked, so I am definitely due to be off on the 7th day. So there was no recourse in law or whatever that they had that they could use to say, well, it was unreasonable for me to refuse. I was well within my right to refuse, even though I wouldn't have anyway, but I just felt so upset that she took that authoritative route to like I have to, and it's like I don't have a choice. Like, bitch, I have a choice. But you see, when you confront people with the truth, they take offense to it. And that is what was happening with the whole Kevin Samuel situation, where he was pointing out to these women who came with these, oh, I am a queen, I'm an African queen, and I'm this and that and blah, 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 and put themselves on these pedestals and then tear down the pedestal. And that was what, that was why most people were mad. In tear down the pedestal, if you say, I listen to me, you put yourself as a 10, men see you as a 5. It's just that simple. So if you go want a man, you have to face the reality that I am indeed a 5 and adjust my expectation for attract a man who is attracted to, look a man who is attracted to a 5. This is the same thing happening now. We see it playing out in our society. You have these crazy, like these lunatics going around telling you that, oh, you're supposed to be telling children who are in kindergarten about gender roles and what have you. When I was going to I don't even remember when I was in kindergarten, let alone figure out whether I knew what man, woman, boy or girl fucking was. They're teaching you whether you're a boy or a girl. In I think it was grade 1, we had this book, I am a boy, my name is Roy, whatever. That is what we were, and it never meant anything to us. It was just to identify that, okay, you are biologically a male or you are biologically a female. That has nothing to do with sexuality, which is what they're trying to conflate sexuality and your gender, the gender that you have biologically, because you're not assigned a gender. You either are or you aren't. We don't determine if we're alive or dead. Like, if you're dead is a fact, if you're alive is a fact. If you're a man is a fact, if you're a woman is a fact. It's not something that you decide, okay, I don't wake up tomorrow morning and decide, okay, I'm dead, I'm not alive, so I'm not going to pay my bills, I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to break the law, because I'm a dead person, and the dead, the dead can do whatever. Nobody fucking does that. That's not how life works. You don't just get up one day and decide that you're something or not. When it comes to fixed points when it comes to objective facts. You know what I mean? If it is a subjective thing, then fine. But when your biologic makeup, what you comes out of your mom or as you're out of your mother's womb as, is not something that is debatable. And this is what people, oh, if you were like, this is bullshit, you are what? You're transphobic or some bullshit of the sort. And it's like, no, you're trying to conflate two arguments into one. You have a person who is suffering some kind of delusional episode and wants the rest of society to buy into that delusion, and we're saying, fuck no. We're not going to do that. No, if you want to decide, say if you want to, make up some fictitious idea about yourself, that is on you. That is on you. Don't bring that to me. Don't bring that to society. You understand? And that is why, we have rules, we have laws, we have ethical standards, we have, we come up with, because we understand that for society to function, there has to be a set of standards that we operate by. That is why where the law fails, we have ethics, morals, social whatever. We have all these things in place to keep behaviors and attitudes in check. Otherwise, civilized society will collapse. And what has happened slowly over time is that you find that you have an erosion of civilized society because everybody is trying to please everybody else. It don't work like that. Life cannot work like that. You can't please everybody. Not even God Almighty can do it. Because if God will please everybody, the world mash up. God can't please everybody neither. And you can challenge people on that. Not even God can please everybody. He can't do it. Because if God answer every prayer, we are fucked. Because I know everybody pray for good things. I know everybody can manage what them I pray for. So if God will please everybody, a chaos span the land, why you think you can please everybody? Society cannot please everyone. We have to set the rules of society such that society can function in a civilized way. And where we find that the rules unfairly prejudice a minority group, then we can take corrective action. It is just that simple. But when we're going to try to develop this attitude that, oh, well, it's going to be free and equitable. It can't free and equitable for everybody because you have mad people. You have people who are living in some delusion. We can't appeal to them because they might go draw in for them delusion too. And that is what is happening now. That is why everybody hates Kevin Samuels. Because women have been propped up on this fucking pedestal for far too long. And it's like, you need to come down off that pedestal and live in the reality. Because there's a reason why you're 40 and fucking single. And you can stay there and hate me all you want. You're going to stay there 40 single and hating me. Because you refuse to come down to reality and see through the lens of reality exactly what is happening, so that you can now adapt to reality instead of being guided by the illusion that you have created for yourself. Most people are living in an illusion. And that is why we have everybody getting offended by everything that is being said. You can't talk now because everybody wants you to appeal to their ego. Fuck you and fuck your ego. If you don't like the truth, don't talk to me. If you can't handle the truth, do not come in my space. Don't attempt to have a conversation with me. Do not respond to anything that I say, because guess what? Me go and tell you just like it is, and don't care if your feelings will hurt, yes or no, because I feel your fucking business that. Because the only person who can hurt you unless they get physical is you. Nothing when me say can't hurt you unless you allow it. Nothing that you say can't hurt me unless I allow it. I mean, I'm going to come in your space. If I go into someone else's space and interfere with them, so maybe somebody posts something and it trigger me, and me respond and I see them getting combative, me block and delete them and go about my business, because I'm wrong for going to their space anyway, and I'm like, me not like where you depend over here, so me just not go deal with you. That is just me. I'm not going to let you draw me down into your negative fuckery and go, man, I'm wrong way if you can't fast with you in the first place too. People need to understand that you do not belong in someone else's space, and you control who you allow in your space. It is just that simple. Nobody needs to like you. Nobody needs to listen to what you have to say. Nobody needs to tolerate you. Nobody needs to agree with you. Nobody needs to give a shit about you. No one is under any obligation to do any of that. The only person responsible for you, how you feel, and how you're doing is you. And the sooner we accept that, the sooner we come to that realization, then the better society will be for it. We have too many people walking around trying to recruit people into their own delusions. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. Nobody no need to agree with you. And if you ask someone for their advice, here is the beauty. You can either accept or reject the advice. It's just that simple. If when me say you don't agree with it, guess what? Keep it pushing. What you they go get upset for? You asked my opinion and I gave you my opinion, and you are now taking on the opinion onto yourself and getting all hot and bothered and upset. Why are you upset? Why are you upset? Okay, I gave an opinion. Okay, thank you for your opinion, but I do not agree with you. And moving right along. You're not supposed to bother you and fake you. So all these women were so upset to the point where they've now become demons, rejoicing in Kevin Samuels' demise. But then if you look around yourself, take a look at yourself. What kind of person are you that you are rejoicing that another person has died? And that makes sense to you? And that is something that is justifiable? Anyways, I'm out.